Boom, baby. Cusco! Not what this video is about. Hi, my name is Gabby and I make budget options of pop idol outfits, so you don't have to. And I show you how I do it. So if you're into that, stick around and don't forget to hit those buttons. You know the ones. Right here? You know, right? Oh wait. Today I present to you the Louis Vuitton bodysuit worn by the lovely Miss Nayeon in her first solo debut, Pop. Spoiler alert, it's not real Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton, don't sue me, please. Let's talk about it. Hi. Usually when I start a project, I write everything down in my sketchbook first. I draw a model of what I want the project to look like. I write out the materials I need, how much I need of it, usually how much it's gonna cost so I can budget it. But with this one, I didn't do that. Yeah, no, this one was kind of all in my head. Super helpful, I know, but I'm gonna break it down for you. Bear with me. Starting a new project is always daunting, so I always try to take it one step at a time. Focus on the first step you need to accomplish your second step. What was the first step we had to do? A pattern. How are we gonna make this thing? What is the actual construction of this garment going to look like? Now, usually I make my own patterns, like I do all the math and everything by myself, but this time I really didn't feel like doing that. I tried something different and I used a pre-made pattern. It's a vintage pattern, I'll show you. A simplicity pattern from the 1970s that I got on eBay. And I did have to alter the pattern just a little bit. Here, I'll show you. If you've never used a pattern, you can use them a couple different ways. They usually give you some options. I used this option right here, the one with the open neckline, and instead of using the lace, I just made my own buttons. Side note, if you want to know how to use patterns, this isn't really what this video is about. Let me know. I'll be happy to make one, but there are plenty of videos already online about how to use patterns like this, so let me know. So pattern, we did it, right? Now what do we make it out of? If you are familiar with this garment, her stylist took a couple of Louis Vuitton towels and made a bodysuit, casually. Unfortunately, I looked up these towels. They were a little out of budget, so this is what I did. This bad boy. Oh God. If you don't know what a towel is made of, it's called terry cloth. And it looks kind of like this. I'll give you a close-up. Focus. As you can see, it's kind of like looped. You see what I mean? Yeah, that's what it is. The problem with finding this fabric is that when I went to all of my local fabric stores, the only terry cloth they had was like a longer loop, if that makes sense. Let me see if I can, let me grab one of my towels and show you what I mean. So this is a washcloth that I have just around my house. This is the terry cloth. As you can see, one of these has significantly longer, like shaggy material. This one's much shorter, but it still has those loops. Do you see what I mean? And I wanted something with the shorter material, right? Because if I were using this, I would look like an actual carpet. I actually had to order this online. I got it off Etsy. Very kind seller. They even added some zippers with my order. Thanks. I didn't use them, but thanks. I want to say I got, how many yards of this did I use? The back of this says 1 3/8 yards of fabric is needed for this, so I probably bought 2 yards of fabric. I also could have bought 1 because I'm broke.
It was indeed 1, and I was indeed broke.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I will check my order sheet and let you know.
I did forget to mention when I was filming this that I did add a lining here just to add some thickness to the fabric so it didn't look as flimsy. I basically just used a simple stretch knit and same concept, just 1 yard of fabric and follow the pattern. Great.
That's out of the way. So now we have our construction, we have our fabric, let's get to work. And the construction of this is pretty simple. Again, I won't go into pattern using in this video, but just know basically you cut out the pattern pieces and you sew them together. It's kind of like a puzzle, but like 3D. And the construction of this actually didn't take that long. I thought it was gonna be a difficult build, mostly because of the collar. I'm not super familiar with like a full usable collar like this. Thing I had never done before, so I'm hoping it looks okay. I was really worried about the collar and I was really worried about buttons, because if you've ever tried to sew buttons and like buttonholes, they suck. They never turn out right, at least for me. But I'm also not like a master seamstress. I just do this for fun. Here are the buttons if you wanted to see them. The bottom 3 are actual usable buttons and the top 2 are just kind of decoration. And for the buttons, actually, they didn't come wrapped in the same fabric. I actually took just normal, like little pink buttons, and then I hot glued fabric from the scraps that I had left over, and I just glued it over the button. So at least that's what I was doing until my hot glue gun exploded. Yeah, other than that, it was a pretty easy build. I mean, it was literally like, I mean, the back is all one piece, and then the front is just two pieces. Sleeves are always just an absolute pain. Like, I've never sewn a sleeve well the first time. Like, I've always had to go back and fix something. For some reason, I think I cut them wrong, because when I was sewing them in, like, it was too big. But I did have to alter the bodysuit slightly because the pattern was too big for my body. So I did end up taking it in. That was just a matter of like putting the pieces together, fitting it, pinning it, re-sewing it, that sort of thing. And then came the scary part, the Louis Vuitton logos. I mean, this bodysuit is a literal walking billboard for Louis Vuitton. How do we get that on there without actually buying a Louis Vuitton towel? Paint. I painted all of this. I wish I could say I was just a dedicated artist and I painted each and every one of these by hand, painstakingly for hours, but I came up with a better solution. I made Louis Vuitton stamps, as you can see. It's literally just a piece of rubber that I cut up into the shapes of the Louis Vuitton logos, and I just painted them and pop, stamped it on. Yeah, it did take a couple coats, and I did go in with a paintbrush and like hand fix up some parts that didn't quite work. My sister is an actual artist, so I remember when we were kids, she was in art class and she came home with this like rubber material. It's literally just a mat of rubber. This one's like partially uncut. As you can see, it's literally just, it's just a block of rubber. It's just like a rubber mat, kind of. You get it. I see a lot of artists use them to like make stamps. They like draw out these beautiful portraits and sculptures in them, and they like roll on paint and then they stamp it. So that's kind of the concept that I used. So first, I needed to figure out how to get the logo on accurately onto the stamp. So what I did was I took a piece of blank printer paper and I put it over my laptop screen. I pulled up the logo and I traced the logo onto the paper. And then I took that paper, I cut out the logo, and then I put the paper logo onto the rubber material. I traced it again, and then I cut it out with an X-Acto knife. But I needed a way to hold the stamp so that it wouldn't get all over my fingers and like, you know, mess up the actual application of it. What I did, let me come in close. I took some paper and I just folded it up into like a bar right here, as you can see. And then I just use those as handles, so I can just place it gently on the fabric and not have to worry about like messy application or like having to fix it later. Those ones were bars, and then with this one I kind of made like a ring. Same concept, it's just like folded up paper. It also kind of makes a pretty sick ring. Check out my Louis Vuitton drip. Okay, that's enough of that. And this is the paint I used. It's a fabric paint. I used this specific paint because I wanted it to be flexible. You have to be really careful when you paint on fabric because it can get very inflexible, it can start cracking, it can make the actual wear of it very difficult. Use something that's specifically for fabric. And to make sure that I didn't get like a goopy application on the stamps, I used this handy dandy little roller. I used a Tupperware lid to lay the paint out. Pull the roller with the paint on the stamp, stamp it onto the fabric. Easy peasy, until it wasn't. The problem was the stamps weren't putting enough paint onto the material. So what I had to do is I had to do one set of stamps on one side, wait for it to dry, do another set of stamps on the same side, on the same spot. So I had to line up everything with the stamps and then go in with a paintbrush after everything's dry and just do touch-ups, make sure everything looks okay. And they're still a little patchy. I mean, it's obviously not perfect. I don't have Louis Vuitton money. I had to make do. But yeah, and that was pretty much it. I think I tried it on one more time after I finished all the stamps. I took it in one last time because it was still just a little big. I didn't like the way it fit. So I did that and then it was done. And I had a little bit left over, so I made the bow to go with it. I actually did that as I was setting up for this, so. I'll go ahead and give you a full body 360 so you can see what it looks like on a human body. I am planning on doing a cover in this. I'm sorry, I've been really busy, so I've kind of been slacking on my channel, but I'm back now. I hope you enjoyed me rambling about all of my sewing adventures, and as always, if you want to see a specific outfit recreated, let me know. Thank you guys for listening, and I will see you next time.